In the heart of the hospital, where science meets humanity, radiology stands as the unseen guardian, detecting, diagnosing, and directing the path to healing. But beyond the scans, beyond the technology, there's something greater. A legacy. A legacy built by visionaries who saw the unseen, by innovators who redefined the possible, and by healers who dared to believe in something bigger than themselves. This is their story, and it's our responsibility to carry it forward.
So I'm Stephen Seltzer, was born in Philadelphia and went to medical school at the University of Pennsylvania. Moved to Boston in 1976 to do my residency at what was then the Peter Brigham Hospital, which dates me immediately of how far back it goes. And stayed for 4 years of residency and never left. So spent my entire career here. When I was a younger faculty member, I was interested in abdominal imaging, and at about that time in the early 80s, the big technology in radiology was CT scanning. And that captured my interest, and I was the CT scan director for a number of years as we were modernizing our fleet and moving into some new quarters, which were really terrific. I've been fortunate enough to be the president of several national organizations over the years, the Association of University Radiologists, which has been around for about 70 years and is a national organization where the members are faculty and trainees in academic departments like ours. And I was on their board for a while and was president for a number of years, and was lucky enough to receive a gold medal from them for my service. Became the abdominal imaging section chief, and then in 1997, my predecessor as department chair, Len Holman, sadly became ill and had to go on a medical leave of absence. And Len and the dean asked if I'd be the interim chair while they tried to sort things out. And a few months later, unfortunately, it was clear he wasn't going to be able to come back to work. So I've been the department chair since 1997, did that for about 20 years, and then started trying on different retirement things. First few years with Dr. Boland's help and support, I was helping him with faculty and professional development. Since I knew all the people there, having been a Brigham lifer myself, and knew all the complexities and idiosyncrasies of the medical school about how people get their academic promotions and things of that sort, so I could help free him up to do all the other a million things that were going on in the department at the time. So I did that for about 2.5 years, and then when Dr. Boland left radiology to become the chair of the BWPO, I think I got the message that it's time to retire. So I moved on to my encore activities after that. So it's been quite a wonderful experience to be part of the organization for almost half a century, and seeing how much it's changed, grown, accomplished over that period of time. And now I get to be a student of the next generation of all the changes that we're going through. There were two initiatives that I think our department became extremely well known for, even on an international basis. The first were advances in the field of what we called image-guided therapy. Most of diagnostic radiology was involved simply in taking high-quality diagnostic images that led to figuring out what a disease a patient had, how extensive it was, how it would respond to therapy. And interventional radiology in those days was largely focused on vascular. And the concept was, why don't we try to marry these two? And there would be tremendous power in combining diagnostic and interventional, and do procedures with real-time image guidance so that the operator could see what they were doing while they were doing it. And that was a breakthrough concept that got realized through the genius of one of our late faculty members, Frank Yoles. Frank had done a lot of intracranial tumor resections and things of that sort. And he would describe to us how the surgeon can see, obviously, the outside of the brain, but you can't see inside. And to remove the tumor or whatever the target is, you have to like probe around and move things. And he said, that is so old-fashioned, because now we have CT scans and MRIs and we can see beneath the surface of what we're doing while we're doing it. So he developed a concept of putting an MRI device in an operating room, which had never been done before. And it was a technical tour de force to be able to configure the MR machine, which is extremely heavy and uses ultra-high magnetic fields, into a space that could also serve as an operating room. We actually installed it in the 1980s and began to do a variety of surgical procedures in the OR, still do it to this day, where the operator can see what they're doing while they're doing it, which is just absolutely a breakthrough. Another high-profile program of ours has been in the arena of information technology and decision sciences. As most people know, radiology was a completely analog field. Our images were on pieces of plastic, basically. We kept records on index cards and clipboards and papers and pencils. And radiology was a huge beneficiary of the revolution from analog to digital in American medicine. So Ramin Khorsani, another faculty member of ours, was asked to oversee at first the transition of replacing equipment to go from analog to digital, which changed everything from the way the images were acquired to the way they were displayed to the reading room environment. And it took 5 years or more just to acquire the new equipment, to figure out how to put enough bandwidth capacity in the walls of the department to move the images from one place to another. Ramin turned his attention to saying, well, what else can we do with information technology and radiology that goes over and above simply acquiring and viewing the images? And he had the brilliance and the insight to say, well, now that we have electronic health records and and Brigham and Women's and Mass General were both early adopters of electronic health records, what Ramin thought we could do even further would be to give advice and feedback to the referring doctor about everything from simple things, because the electronic health record knew, for instance, that patient had a chest CT a month ago, which the referring doctor might not know, and say, are you sure you want to do it again? Or to catch an error, it's like a patient fell on left wrist, I need a left wrist x-ray, but the medical record said they fell on their right wrist. And you could say, are you sure you want to, so we could correct simple errors, could facilitate scheduling. And then Ramin's academic and scientific interests was to say, well, now that we have all these tools here in the 1990s and early 2000s, could we use the knowledge of experts in radiology and outside of radiology to create what are now typically called clinical decision support rules? And Ramin and his laboratory, which we called the Center for Evidence-Based Radiology, which was founded in the 90s, wrote quite a number of algorithms that would take as input information from the referring doctor, process it in real time, and in microseconds give back to the referring doctor, good idea, how about next Tuesday? Or have you considered this? And then it was embellished by saying if we were providing suggestions for alternatives, or said that's really not indicated, or that was done recently, are you sure you want to repeat it? The referring doctor could click a button and talk to an expert radiologist. So he had person-to-person, peer-to-peer communication. So those are two among many firsts, if you will, but both have achieved international recognition and really set the standard of care of how we practice in 2024. So I've been teaching since the first day I joined the faculty, and have always found it very enjoyable, and just the idea of molding the young minds for the next generation is extraordinarily appealing. And one of the reasons that people self-select to want to do a career in academic medicine or academic radiology. We're very proud of what we do, and we think it's indispensable to our mission. And from personal experience, the best way to learn something is to teach it. So it keeps us vital as well. If you look in the Harvard Medical School Faculty Handbook, I'm paraphrasing, but they said the highest honor any faculty member can receive is to have an endowed professorship in their name. And it's really a lifetime achievement award that involves raising money to be put into an endowment to support the physician that's the incumbent of the professorship. So it's something one dreams about as a first-year radiology resident, like, what are the chances? You know, oh my God. And after I stepped down as department chair, my colleagues were kind enough to organize, pretty much in secret, interestingly, the effort to establish this endowed chair at the medical school, which is named for me. And last October of 23, had a celebration at the medical school where my colleague Marcello DeCarli, who's a radiology professor and our head of nuclear medicine and one of the world-renowned cardiovascular imagers, was appointed by the dean as the first incumbent of the professorship. And because it's an endowment, it goes on in perpetuity. The funds are invested, the income from the funds are used to support the incumbent, and the professorship stays there. First professorship at Harvard was established in the 1700s in divinity, of all things. Maybe that makes sense, when Harvard started in the 18th century, 17th century. But there are now hundreds of them, and they're enduring legacies in our institution. It's become best practice to say you need different mentoring at different stages of your career. And it's unusual to have just one mentor that will be the right person for you. And I can't tell you how fortunate I've been to get connected to different people along the way. When I first began as a resident, Herbert Abrams was our department chair, and Dr. Abrams was one of the pioneers of bringing solid scientific research into the field of radiology, which had largely been a clinical field before that. And in our residency program, he had attracted a grant from the NIH for people like me to spend an extra year of residency working in a laboratory. And so he kind of taught me the values of being an academician, the parts of the academic multipartite mission, and gave me the experience in the lab, which I never used again after that, but it was still an important learning opportunity. My lab mentor was Dr. Norman Hollenberg, who was sadly has recently passed away. But Norm ran the labs for radiology, and we did bench experiments using techniques, again, that I learned and have never pursued, but I learned how to be a scientist because of that. So that was wonderful to have Norm as a PhD expert in research. My first clinical mentor was our vice chair when I began. His name was Harry Mellons, and he taught us all how to do clinical radiology and how to interact with patients and referring physicians. So in the early stages of my career, that was just about perfect to have these three giants who were helping me with different things. Radiology has benefited over now really half a century from the explosion in technology, computer technology, advanced electronics, manufacturing technologies, computer networks, now artificial intelligence. Just, almost every decade there's one new thing after another. And the profession has really embraced them. We continue to take advantage of better ways to practice and better ways to take care of patients and better ways to do procedures that are minimally invasive. There's a concept that I had worked on, which I don't know will happen in my professional lifetime, but it goes by the name of the diagnostic cockpit of the future. And it's envisioning a day when all diagnostic radiology images as they are now are digital and can be moved anywhere, anytime. To be able to harness all of that brain power in one place at one time, I think would be an amazing future breakthrough, and something that could happen within the next decade, and would really be almost the zenith of bringing all of these new technologies together so they can support one another and not just be in silos. Radiology has national political advocacy for its research agenda. And the field founded an advocacy organization in 1990 called the Academy for Radiology and Biomedical Imaging Research. And its mission was to create an institute for biomedical imaging at the NIH, because there had not been one before. And in order to amplify the opportunities for research in radiology, our forebearers thought we need a home. We can't just be scattered throughout the other institutes of NIH. And to create a new institute at NIH literally takes an act of Congress. So we had to put together, we're not lobbyists, we're advocates. I'm not allowed to say the L word there, but we advocated for forming such an institute, and it was formed in 2000. So there now is the so-called NIBIB, the National Institute for Biomedical Imaging and Bioengineering. And the Academy was the catalyst to, over a decade, conceptualize the legislation, win political support, and against long odds, actually got Congress to pass it. And famously, President Clinton signed the bill to create our institute as the last act of his presidency. So we were on tenterhooks in 2020 that he was just going to leave and forget. 2020, 2000, I apologize, that he was going to leave and forget to sign our bill. But we did that, and so I've been fortunate enough to be on the board of the Academy and its president for a number of years. And that program, now that we have the Institute, has had the resources to be able to grow and have enrichment experiences for radiology residents and early career investigators that we invite to come to DC to go to the NIH and meet with leadership at NIH so they can understand how NIH works, to meet with their congresspeople to understand how constituent activism can influence a congressperson's thoughts, as well as to see how crazy it is on Capitol Hill, to be honest. And then we do annually a like a small trade show in one of the House or Senate office buildings, where with our industry colleagues who have now joined the Academy as partners, and patient advocacy groups who have joined the Academy as partners, put on tabletop displays of all the amazing things that imaging can do and why it deserves full-fledged government support. And over the 30 years or so of the Academy, the amount of money the NIH spends on radiology research went from 40 million to 1 billion. So I'm extraordinarily proud of that as a very challenging activity without a real roadmap, and none of us are lobbyists or know an awful lot about making legislation. But it was the right place at the right time, and we needed it, and taken full advantage of it at this point. So, and I received a gold medal from them too. So those are some of the national leadership opportunities that I've had that have been very, very special, and hopefully again leaving the world in a better place. So in the growth and development of the image-guided therapy program, after it began with its first signature accomplishment of putting an MRI in an operating room, Dr. Yoles had the vision of, well, if you can put an MRI in an operating room, why not a CT scanner and a PET scanner, so that the interventionalists could have access to any imaging modality that would be appropriate for whatever procedure they were doing. And Frank conceptualized the project for the advanced multimodality image-guided operating room, which was codenamed Amigo, because everything has to have a code name, of course, and worked with our partners in industry and government and the hospital to have it funded. And it is in existence now. It's still the only one of its kind in the world that has 3 separate operating rooms, each equipped with imaging devices, and is used by radiologists, surgeons of all types, and doing procedures in almost every part of the body. So I have a retirement program put together. It's challenging for in many fields, particularly an immersive field like radiology or medicine, where your professional life can consume 100,000% of your time. But what I have done, which has been delightful, is I decided to go back to school. I enrolled in the Harvard Institute for Learning and Retirement, which is run by Harvard's Division of Continuing Education. And it's a unique program, about 600 students. They're all retired professionals. And the students are the teachers. So one can take courses in an entire range of subjects based on the backgrounds of the folks that are in the program. So I've taught courses about what's wrong with American healthcare. Easily can cover that in 12 hours. That's no problem at all. But it's intended to help lay people see the root causes of some of the problems that we all face in healthcare that we know need fixing. And right now, I'm taking a course on the 55th anniversary of Woodstock. I was 19 years old at the time of Woodstock, and we're going back and studying both the music and the performers, but what the culture and history and politics and economics of the United States in 1969 were. So I get to spend time with the family, which is lovely, and I'm the Tuesday after school pickup person for the grandkids. So anyway, it's keeping me young, what can I tell you? So it's a very rich life. Every human being, and particularly every academic, feels as though providing a legacy is something that they strive for in their life. And if one is exceptionally fortunate, like me, to have been in the right place at the right time, surrounded by the right people, and given the opportunities to look ahead a little bit, it's extraordinarily gratifying because we're only in these roles for a chance to run a lap or two, and then we have to pass the baton on to the next generation. And to be able to be seen as someone that inherited something terrific, added to it, and hands over something even better that facilitates progress is very, very professionally and personally gratifying. So the older I get, the more I think about legacy and how important that is to me. And I feel really blessed to have been around at this time.